Friends, I am Antika and in this video I will be discussing about Riccia species. This is a bryophyte and I have started the bryophyte series. I will also be doing videos on Markensia, Anthoceros, Sargassum, Funaria. So in this video I will be discussing about the thallus structure as well as the economic and ecological importance of Riccia and an overview of Riccia. So let's start the video. The overview mainly begins with taxonomic position. So taxonomic position is very important when you write any long question, 5 marks question. So please take this taxonomic position. It's a very important part of your answer. So Riccia, it belongs to the class Markensiopsida, order Markensialis, family Ricciaceae, and genus Riccia. So all the Markensialis are called the liverworts, and they have a much simple thalloid body than compared to other, that is the Markensialis. They have a much simpler body as compared to the mosses as well as the hornwort. Markensialis, they are called the liverworts. So today we will be discussing about Riccia. Now Riccia is one of the most common among all the family, Ricciaceae family, and also it is the most simple of all the bryophytes. Its thallus structure is the simplest of all the bryophytes. Now what are bryophytes? We know that bryophytes, they are the amphibians. They are the amphibians of the plant kingdom. That is, some species of this Riccia, they survive in damp soil. Some are present in water, for example Riccia fluitans. So they have adaptive measures such that they can survive in land as well as water. But on the other hand, it does not have a tissue organization. That is why it is called a thallophyte. Apart from the bryophyte, algae and the fungi, they are also included in thallophyte. So this bryophyte is a thallophytic organism, that is a thallophytic plant, which means that it does not have a tissue organization, and it is also called the amphibian of plant kingdom because of its adaptive features of both that of the terrestrial as well as that of the aquatic organism. So the Riccia, which is a most simple thallophyte, that is belonging to the Markensialis, that is the liverworts. So it has total 152 species worldwide, and in India we can find 36 species. The most common species around the world are Riccia carolina, Riccia discolor, Riccia reticulata, glauca. The Indian species are these are the Indian species of Riccia, where I will be later discussing Riccia sahadriaca. So the habitat of Riccia, just like the bryophytes I discussed, all the bryophytes, they prefer damp soil, especially the area in the riverine region or the lacustrine region, that is shady, and it is moist throughout the year. Those habitats are preferred, and mostly it is terrestrial mesophytes, and they are found, some species are found in shaded portion, some are also found in a exposed area. The exposed species of Riccia, what it does is that it is not it is not perennial, it is ephemeral. Those Riccia species that grow exposed area, they are ephemeral, and those that are present in the shaded portion, they are perennial, which means that either the gametophytic or sporophytic stage is present throughout the year. So some of the other species are also aquatic as well as semi-aquatic. So in Riccia we find three type of habitat. One is the terrestrial, another is the aquatic, another is the semi-aquatic. That is the ecotone region between terrestrial and aquatic. So, according to the region that are present, the region that contain the bryophytes, they are called the biogeographical region. And in India, there are 8 biogeographical region. The biogeographical region of India are Andaman Nicobar, Central India, Deccan Plateau, and Eastern Ghat, Eastern Himalaya, Gangetic Plain, Punjab and West Rajasthan, the Western Ghats, and the Western Himalaya. So these are the 8 biogeographical regions. And the Eastern Himalaya, which contains all the eastern, northeastern states, that is the Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Nagaland. So you see that all the hilly areas of all the hilly areas, bryophytes are present only in the hilly region, also in the eastern Himalaya. But it is surprisingly, it is also found in the dry arid region of Punjab as well as Rajasthan. So when it is present in Punjab and Rajasthan, it will be present in and around aquatic bodies or in and around the lake or river. So the structure of the gametophyte. Gametophyte is an organism. Gametophyte is just which has half. That is the haploid number of chromosome. Is the gametophyte which produces the gametes, and the sporophytes are those which has diploid number of chromosomes. So in the life cycle of Riccia or any other bryophytes, we find the dominant the dominant phase of the life cycle, it is the gametophyte, and the sporophyte, it is dependent upon the gametophyte for its nutrition, and the gametophyte only harbors the sporophyte. So gametophytic phase in the all the bryophytes including Riccia, they are prominent, and they are and the sporophyte is parasitically, nutritionally parasitic on the gametophyte. So how does the gametophyte look? The gametophyte of the Riccia, it is thalloid. It is thalloid because there is no tissue organization. This thallus, it is, as we see, that it has got a green color. The thallus is green colored, and it is dorsi-ventrally flattened, and it grows prostate, that is close to the ground. So this is, as it is growing very prostate and close to the ground, it is also used as an ecological indicator, but that I will come at the end of the slide. So the thallus, it is green, fleshy, and dorsiventrally flattened, grows prostrate to the ground, and each of the thallus, it is dichotomously branched. Here we see that the branching, this is the thallus, so the branching is dichotomous. This type of branching, it is called dichotomously branch. So here we see, if we consider this portion of Riccia, we see that the branching is dichotomous, and each of this portion, it is called the lobes of the branching each, and again each of these lobes are, again we see that they are also, they will branch dichotomously, and in this way growth will continue, and the growth is apical. So the thallus is ribbon shaped or star strap shaped and dichotomously branched, and by this continuous dichotomy it can form a rosette like structure. All the Riccia, it will form a rose like structure by continuous dichotomy and growth. So here this is the dorsal surface of the Riccia, and we see that apart from these are the lobes, these are the thallus lobes. We see that at the apex of the thallus lobe there is a wedge-like structure, and that is called the apical notch. This structure is called the apical notch at the tip, and this apical notch has in the depression of the apical notch there is the growing point. That is the growing point, or it contains all the meristematic tissue, the growth initial. So this apical portion of each of the thallus has the apical notch, which has the growth initial cells, which may appear in rows. And so this terminal or apical notch, and apart from that there is a groove. We see at the center there is a groove like structure, and this groove like structure, it is very prominent in some species. In some species this groove is present only in the anterior portion. Here we see in this diagram, here we see that the groove, the median groove that is present in the center, the median groove or dorsal groove is present throughout the body of the thallus, that is from the apex to the posterior end it is present. But some species of Riccia, it can be present only in the anterior region, and gradually as it reaches the posterior region it is found to be growing very small and later on disappearing. But on other species of Riccia, it can be present on one that is a male gametophyte, and it can be absent in the female gametophyte. So depending upon the species, there is difference in the appearance of the mid groove or the dorsal groove, that is in the upper surface or the dorsal surface of the Riccia. So each of the Riccia the thallus of Riccia is generally very small, 0.5 to 4 mm wide, and but the entire rosette-like structure here that I was talking about, it can be 3 centimeter in diameter. So this what I was talking about is that one of this thallus of Riccia is it can be 0.5 to 4 mm, but if the entire rosette we consider, that is 3 centimeter in diameter. And generally all the species of Riccia, they are gregarious, that is they occur together, they form a continuous mat on the surface of the soil, or if it is in water, say for example Riccia fluitans, then it will form a continuous mat on the surface. So in the earlier slide I was talking about the upper or the dorsal surface of Riccia, how it looked, and now I will be discussing about the ventral surface or the lower surface. We know that Riccia grows prostrate to the ground. So if this is the ground, Riccia will be growing prostrate to the ground, and the lower surface, it contains unicellular hair-like structure that is called rhizoids, and these rhizoids have two functions. One is that it will have It will help in the absorption of water as well as the dissolved salt in the water, and also anchorage of the Riccia to the substrate. So these are the two functions of rhizoid, which are root-like structure, but they are unicellular, and they are this rhizoids. They are of two types. Rhizoids, they help in anchorage and absorption. They are of two types: smooth walled and tuberculate. So this is the smooth one, and there are another type, that is the pegged or tuberculate rhizoid. So the smooth one, here it is the example of smooth one. The smooth rhizoid, they have a very smooth surface of the cell wall. But the tuberculate rhizoid, this one is the tuberculate or pegged rhizoid, where we see that the cell wall, it forms inner peg-like structure on the inner lumen of the cell. So if this is the cell, on transverse section, there will be peg-like structure, that is ingrowth of the cell wall. The cell wall will grow towards the lumen, and this is how the peg-like structure will look in transverse section, and this is the longitudinal section. And so this is the main difference between smooth and the pegged. One is that there is smooth wall, another it is showing in growth of the cell wall material towards the lumen. Another difference is that the pegged or the tuberculate, this rhizoid, they are dead at maturity. They do not have any protoplasm, and the smooth walled, they are better for anchorage of the Riccia to the substratum, and the pegged ones is much more helpful in the absorption of water. So functionally and structurally, these are the difference between the smooth walled and the pegged or tuberculate rhizoid. Apart from rhizoid, the ventral surface or lower surface also bears another structure, that is the scales. The scales, they are multicellular structure. Here it is a diagram of a scale. This is multicellular, but all the cells, they appear in only single layer. So single layer of single layered and multicellular scales, they can be colored purple to reddish depending upon the amount of carotene in them. So the scales, they are present on the ventral surface, and if this is the mid ventral groove, this is the groove, mid dorsal groove. So the scales will appear in rows along the groove. So this number of rows can be from 1 to 2 depending upon the species of Riccia. But some species of Riccia, the scales are not present in a row, but it is present scattered along the mid dorsal groove. So this is the pretty much the function of scales and the rhizoid. The This is the internal structure, and that this is the inner structure. It is much more simple than compared to other liverwort, say for example Anthoceros, Merkentia. So the thallus, it is differentiated dorsoventrally, it is differentiated into two regions. The upper region is the photosynthetic zone, and the lower region, it is the storage zone. So the photosynthetic zone, that is this portion is the upper portion photosynthetic region, and this is the lower or storage region. Here we see that the photosynthetic region has rows of cells. Here we see the row of cells are present, which are chlorophyllas, that is they contain chlorophyll, and each of the row of cells is in between the two rows of cells are the air pores. Here we see that these are the air channels. This entire region between the two rows of cells are the air channels, and each air channel, it is just a single channel without any assimilatory filaments. As in Mertensia we have seen that these air channels, they have some assimilatory filaments, but that is absent in Riccia. So this is just a simple channel without any assimilatory filament, and each of the channel is surrounded by rows of cells, and the number of rows of cells each air channel will be surrounded is 4 to 6 to 8 number of channels depending upon the species of Riccia. So this upper region, the assimilatory zone, it has it can be differentiated into two parts. One is the air channel, another is the row of cells, and each of the row of cells, they are parenchymatous, they are chlorophyllas, but they are considered pseudo mesophyll. They because though they perform the function of photosynthesis, but they do not form a continuous layer. That is why this each row of cells, each of the row of the cells, they form the pseudo mesophyll, not true mesophyll. But and each of this row of cells, at the tip, at the very top of the row, the upper cell, it is hyaline and pure shaped. So this hyaline upper cell, they form a pseudo upper epidermis. Why it forms a pseudo epidermis? Because again this layer is not continuous. The epidermal layer is not continuous. It is punctuated by this air channel. So that is why the upper epidermis is called the pseudoepidermis, and for the same reason, as because air channels are present in between, so the upper chlorophyllous region is called the pseudomesophyll. So the pseudomesophyll, air channel and upper epidermis, they are the upper photosynthetic region. Now about the lower region. The lower region, we see that they have parenchymatous cells, and these parenchymatous cells, they do not have any intercellular space. They are closely packed, and they contain starch, oil and other mainly starch and oil. They are present in they are the storage product, they are the storage food product in the bryophytes, and starch can be present in this type of in the storage region. And the lower epidermis, and lower to the storage region, is the lower epidermis, which contains three things. One is the scales. Here we see these are the scales. Another is the smooth walled rhizoids. Another is the tuberculate rhizoid. All these scales, smooth walled rhizoid and the tuberculate rhizoid, all this I have discussed in the previous slide. So, and their function also. And here we also see another important structure, that is a reproductive structure, that is archegonium. But we will be discussing it when we discuss the reproduction of Riccia. So another structure, alternative structure, is we find in Riccia fluitans. The Riccia fluitans, it is the aquatic species of Riccia, where we see that the air channels that was present in the Riccia, in between the row of cell, the air channel that was present, that is not present. The because it remains either submerged condition and all. So this type of air pore is absent in Riccia fluitants. Instead, they have this air chamber where the epidermis, it is continuous, because then water can't get inside the thallus body. For that reason only they have a continuous upper epidermis, and the air chambers, they are closed. So this is how Riccia fluitans, a very important species of Riccia, internal structure looks. It's a bit altered than that of the normal other species of Riccia, the terrestrial species of Riccia. Now about the growth. As I discussed earlier that the Riccia is dichotomously branched, and at the tip of the each of the thallus lobe there is a wedge-like structure, and that has got a depression. This wedge-like structure is called the apical notch, and the depression contains the apical initial cells. The apical initial cells. So the apical initial cells can be a row of 3 to 5 cells, and it is usually wedge shaped and has got cutting surface, and further growth takes place by this apical initial cell only. So the growth of Riccia is apical. Now we come about the economic importance. Now apart from giving an aesthetic value, though all the species of Riccia that grow in the wet wall or wet rock or other wet area, they are very aesthetically pleasing, but apart from that they have got economic importance also, especially Riccia fluitans, which is the aquatic species of Riccia, that is very common among the aquarists, that is those, it is very common aquariums plant. And this Riccia fluitans in the aquarium, it acts as a source of food as well as shelter for the young fish fries. So they are very common in aquarium, and if they can grow in artificial light also, and they form a very thick mat on the upper surface, and they can be also found growing in submerged condition also. But one thing is that they are not compatible with other plants. For example, here we see the duckweeds and another algae, that is the bryopsis. They This bryopsis and duckweed, they outcompete this Riccia fluitans. So in an aquarium, if you have this Riccia fluitans and you are growing it with duckweed or bryopsis, then you will not get good growth of this Riccia fluitans. And other than that, if they are not present otherwise, then Riccia fluitans, it grows at a very fast rate, and it grows fastly because say for example a fish is nibbling into the plant body of this Riccia fluitans, and the thallus body is getting fragmented, and each of this fragment will develop into another Riccia plant. So their growth rate is very high, and also they grow by fragmentation. So that is why the Riccia fluitans is very easy to maintain and a very common aquarium plant. This is one of the economic about the ecological importance. Now, we know that all the bryophytes, they are present in very clean and oxygenated water. They are also found to be growing in a very clean atmosphere. So the presence of this any species of bryophyte or aquatic bryophyte will indicate that that aquatic body is very clean, or the air in which the terrestrial bryophyte is present is also very clean. Just like the case of lichens. Lichens, they prefer growing in very clean, pristine atmosphere. That is why presence of lichens is an indicator of clean atmosphere. The same is the case of bryophytes, and this is an ecological indicator. apart from that, all other species they are of Riccia, they are found to be growing in very clean atmosphere, but Riccia fluitans, it is found to be even growing, but slowly growing in that of the eutrophication water that is eutrophied, that is it contains high amount of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and all this nutrient rich water. The growth of Riccia fluitans, it becomes um, it becomes much higher, that is it can tolerate this eutrophication. So Riccia fluitans, if found to be growing in very high in vigorous growth, then we can there is a one chance that water body is getting eutrophied, it is getting polluted by high amount of nutrients. So this is another ecological importance. Then is that the Riccia fluitans, it is found to be containing certain aromatic volatile essential oil, and this essential oil, this checks the herbivory. So Riccia fluitans, though it is a very good source of aquarium plant, but now recently it was discovered by a research work that Riccia fluitans has got certain secondary metabolite which has got anti herbivory property also. So this was all about an overview of Riccia and its structure, both externally and internally, and that of the ecological and economic importance. In the next video, it will be about Riccia, the reproduction, the asexual reproduction, the sexual reproduction, and also I'll be making another video on the sporophyte of Riccia, because we know that all the bryophytes, they have a very elaborate type of sporophyte, and usually question comes on the structure of the sporophyte, the 5 marks question. So I'll be making a separate video on the sporophyte of Riccia also. And thanks for watching this video. Write in the comment section how you like this video, and if you like the video, do share it with your friends, and also please do subscribe my video channel, because your subscription, it will help me, encourage me to make more such videos. Also do write in the comment section about any topic you want me to make videos on. I'm usually making videos on BSc and MSc syllabus of different universities. In any case, I haven't covered any of the topic in your university syllabus, do write it in the comment section. And once again, thank you for watching this video.